I found out I was apparently running a community charging station when my electric bill tried to bankrupt me. And no, I don't own a Tesla farm, I'm not mining crypto in my barn, and I'm definitely not powering some secret nightclub out back. It was just me, my little house, and an electric meter spinning like it had somewhere urgent to be. The envelope looked innocent enough, same logo, same polite corporate font, folded like it always is. But the number printed inside, I read it once, blinked, read it again, and just stood there in my kitchen while the refrigerator hummed behind me like it was in on the joke. According to that bill, I'd used more electricity that month than I had during last year's record heat wave. And that was the month I had 2 industrial fans blasting, a walk-in freezer cranking, and a dehydrator running 24/7 because my garden went feral. This month, nothing new. No guests. No new equipment. Just me and the low, steady hum of quiet country life. So I did what any slightly annoyed, slightly paranoid homeowner does. I went full detective mode. I started flipping breakers one by one. Office lights off. Barn breaker off. Fans unplugged. Water heater checked. Well pump checked. I even unplugged the coffee maker, and that one hurt. Then I walked out to the meter and stared at it like we were in a standoff. Still spinning. Not fast, not dramatic, just steady calm, confident like it knew something I didn't. The next morning, same thing. Late that night, same thing. I stood there in the dark, crickets chirping, that little metal will ticking forward like a slow drip robbery. And that's when that itchy voice in the back of my head started whispering, someone's messing with you. Let me back up a sec. My place sits right along the fence line that separates my property from my neighbor's backyard. Tall weeds grow lazy in the gap between us, boards a little warped from years of weather. Nothing fancy. And my neighbor, well, if you've never had a Karen in your life, consider yourself blessed. Mine wasn't technically HOA president, but she might as well have been. Clipboard energy without the official title. Patrol walks like she's conducting inspections for the Department of Lawn Compliance. She once filed a complaint about someone's patio chairs being too festive. She fined a guy because his mailbox looked overly friendly. That's the level of petty we're talking about. So when I widened my search and walked past the barn toward that fence line, pushing through weeds, I wasn't expecting to find anything. But then I saw it, bright orange, half buried in brush like some kind of electrical snake. An extension cord. At first I figured it was leftover junk from some old project. But I followed it, step by step, heart thumping a little louder with every foot. It ran straight through a tiny gap between fence slats into her backyard, plugged clean into her outdoor outlet. I just stood there. You don't expect to discover you're an involuntary energy sponsor. But there it was. My barn powering her porch like it was a public utility. No knock. No note. No, hey neighbor, mind if I borrow a little juice? Just plug and play entitlement. For a long minute, I wasn't even mad. Just stunned. I could have yanked the cord right then. Could have marched to her door. But here's the thing about people like Karen, they feed on confrontation. Drama is oxygen. And I wasn't about to give her a fresh tank. So I did the one thing she'd never expect. I got quiet, pulled out my phone, took pictures, zoomed in on the outlet, recorded the meter spinning. Then I flipped my barn breaker off. Her porch light blinked out. Flip it back on. Blink. Proof. That's when it stopped being about money and started being about principle. The next night, I sat on my porch after dark, breaker off, watching her house like I was monitoring a science experiment. 10 minutes passed. I flipped it back on. Her porch lit up instantly. Oh, she wasn't just stealing power, she was relying on it. So I walked over and knocked on her door. She opened it wearing a velvet robe, holding lemon water like it was imported wine. That tight-lipped HOA smile already loaded and ready. Hey, I said, calm as a man discussing the weather. Just wondering if you're aware there's a cord running from your house into my barn. Blink. Head tilt. What cord? I showed her the photo. Oh, that, she said, waving her hand like I'd pointed out a leaf in her yard. It's just a little power. No big deal. No big deal. I said. You're using my electricity. I figured you wouldn't mind, she replied. You weren't using it anyway. You ever hear something so entitled your brain just stalls for a second? That was me. I asked if she understood that was theft. Don't be dramatic, she said. Dramatic. I smiled. Took a slow breath. All right, I said. If you're going to keep using it, I'll send you a bill. She laughed. Actually laughed. Oh sure. Go ahead. And right there, that was the moment she lost. because she didn't believe she could be outplayed. That night, I created the HOA Utilities Compliance Division. Completely fictional. Beautifully official. I drafted an invoice. Residential energy redistribution fee, $2. Unauthorized extension line service charge, 75 cents. Infrastructure draw surcharge, 25 cents. Total, $3. I added a fake contact number. A fake ethics committee. Even a warning about formal review. It looked legitimate enough to make you hesitate. I slipped it into her mailbox after dark. Next morning, I watched her open it on my security camera. Confused. Suspicious. Processing. The next day, taped to my mailbox was a tiny Ziploc bag with 3 crisp dollar bills and a sticky note. Payment enclosed. Hope this clears things up. I nearly dropped my coffee. She paid it. And here's where things get interesting. I didn't stop. Next week, another invoice. Slightly different charges. $3.38. Paid. Week 3, $3.17. Paid. I started getting creative. Lawn reflection interference fee, 47 cents. Unauthorized shade cast adjustment, 63 cents. Bird deterrence administration, 88 cents. She paid every single one. Never questioned it. Never knocked. Because admitting confusion would mean surrendering control, and control was Karen's whole identity. Then came the twist. Week 7, she marched into an HOA meeting waving one of my invoices like she'd cracked a federal conspiracy. Claimed I was impersonating an official utilities officer. Thought she was about to expose me. Picture a middle school gym filled with folding chairs and retirees clutching printed agendas. Fluorescent lights buzzing overhead. Karen at the front, scarf indoors like she's testifying before Congress. She demanded justice. Then someone asked, "Why is he charging you for electricity?" The room went quiet. I stood up, calm, explained about the cord, showed the photos, played the video of her porch lights flickering when I flipped my breaker. Gasps. Karen tried to downplay it. It was just a porch light. I handed over a folder. Every invoice. Every payment documented. The HOA president flipped through them, reading charges out loud. Unauthorized shadow casting, 42 cents. Even he couldn't keep a straight face. Then the hammer dropped. They voted. Formal warning denied. Suspension from leadership approved. Removal from the board 11-0. Karen sat there, jaw tight, scarf trembling slightly. She walked out without a word, heels echoing off linoleum like the end credits of a very satisfying movie. But that wasn't the finale. Because someone, and I'm not saying who, tipped off the electric company. They sent an inspector. Traced the cord. Documented everything. Unauthorized usage. Tampering. Unmetered consumption. Utility companies don't do passive-aggressive, they do paperwork. The penalties and investigation fees stacked up fast. Tens of thousands. Enough to make even the most velvet-robed enforcer sweat. After that, Karen wasn't feared. She was avoided. HOA threads went quiet when she posted. Neighbors crossed the street. The clipboard energy evaporated. Then one morning, a quiet little for sale sign appeared in her yard. A few weeks later, a moving truck showed up at sunrise. Karen in her robe, loading boxes like she was trying to outrun daylight. I stood on my porch with my coffee. She glanced my way. I raised my mug. "Don't forget to unplug." She didn't respond. Just got in her car and drove off. And the neighborhood exhaled. We had a cookout that weekend. Music drifting through the air. Kids riding bikes. Someone set out bright, cheerful patio chairs, the exact kind she once tried to ban. They looked glorious in the sunlight. And here's the thing I realized through all of it. Entitlement survives on silence. It grows when people assume no one will push back. Karen didn't lose because of a fake invoice. She lost because for the first time, someone calmly documented her behavior and held up a mirror. Sometimes justice isn't loud. Sometimes it's $3 at a time. But I'll leave you with this. Where's the line between clever payback and becoming the villain yourself? Was I petty or was I just creative? If someone quietly takes from you, do you confront them head on or let them unravel in public? I want to hear your take. Have you ever dealt with someone who thought the rules didn't apply to them? Did you fight back or let karma handle it? Drop your thoughts below. Because when it comes to right and wrong, sometimes the most interesting part isn't the bill, it's who decides to pay it.